And I'll call this meeting to order. It is September 13th, 2022. This is our weekly business meeting. It is 2 p.m. and in attendance are Commissioners Brooks and Duncan. If you'd please join me in a moment of silence. All right, thank you. And Sam, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, are there any changes to the agenda? All right, Nick?
Thank you, Commissioner Nick Snyder, for the record. Commissioner, we don't typically bring things forward in an urgent situation. However, circumstances are such that there's a vehicle for purchase. Things are no longer what they were. We have a nationwide shortage and dealers no longer hold them on behalf of the county like they used to. So I need board authorization today to move forward with the purchase so we do not lose that vehicle. If that's enough to get on the agenda, I'll wait for the item if you wish.
Okay. Bill, are you all right with that?
I'm fine. I talked to Nick earlier about it, but
Okay.
I'm sure you did too.
Yeah. So would you like to make a motion to add this item under emergency nature?
Let's add Park and Waterways item onto the agenda as an emergency item.
Okay, second?
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. All right, so when we get to the business section, we'll just handle you first and get you out of here. And I don't think there are any other changes to the agenda at this point. So, Bill, I would take a motion to approve the meeting minutes 1 through 6.
Okay, I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 6.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. And then the consent calendar, 7 through 15.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 7 through 15.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. All right. And item 16, payables for September 5th through the 9th, 2022.
I move that we approve the payables for the week, or the dates from 5 to 9 September 2022 in the amount of $568,125.20 and no jury panel payments.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. All right, under our business meeting, we'll go ahead and address Parks and Waterways purchase of a vehicle. And remind me, you had authorization to purchase this for FY22 funds.
Thank you, Commissioner Nick Snyder, for the record. Yes, the board had previously approved the purchase, and as the board's aware, and they may hear more from Director Hutchinson later on the situation with the vehicles. The short version is that Ford Motor Corporation deferred our vehicles to the next model year. That causes quite an issue. I'll let him get into that later. But as to our situation, we do not need a law enforcement vehicle. Commissioners, you're aware, we jumped on that bandwagon to save some money. But since that is no longer an option, we'd like to move forward and secure a vehicle while we still can. Ford Motor Company reports that it could be 16 months before we receive another vehicle, and that price could go up $8,000 to $10,000 per vehicle. So we would like to avoid not having a vehicle for up to 16 to 18 months. We've located a very affordable one that is a fleet type. The color's right, the options are correct in Seattle for $5,000 less than we could find locally. So we'd like authorization to make that purchase. I have consulted with Finance Director. Brandy's had an opportunity to look at our fund balances, and if you have any questions, you can certainly ask her, but we have funding to cover the difference, and that difference is $10,309. And I would recommend that the board allow us to expend those funds from the boat launch user fee account, so those are non-general fund dollars, to make the purchase, and ask the auditor's office to make a check available as soon as possible.
Okay, and the, how much is the total of
The
the
total
vehicle?
cost is $45,110.50, and the board had previously approved $34,810.
Okay.
Go ahead and make that.
Okay. I move that we approve the purchase of the vehicle as presented by Parks and Waterways for the $45,110.50.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Okay. And that-
Commissioner, may I present this to you?
Sure. So that motion passes, and they need a signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, make sure Terry gets a copy of that.
Of course I will.
Thank you. All right, I think we're going to do item 17 now, and this is the second amendment to recyclable processing agreement. And Director Phillips.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. This agreement with Bluebird Recycling is a contract extension written by Jamila Holmes for the processing of recycled materials for Kootenai County Solid Waste. Quoted pricing is the same as last year. The term of this extension starts August the 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. The Solid Waste Department requests that you approve and sign this one-year extension to an existing agreement with Bluebird Recycling. The department does have the funds to cover these costs, and it was budgeted.
Okay, great. Any questions? Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the second amendment for recyclable processing agreement with Waste Management of Idaho, DBA Bluebird Recycling and Solid Waste.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. So, Bill, any motion that you don't want to make, let me know, but otherwise I'll just
Sure.
prompt you. All right, number 18, First Amendment to the lead-acid battery recycling agreement with Interstate Batteries.
Where's Angela?
She didn't make it
No
today,
Angela?
but I'll be speaking on her
I'd rather
behalf.
see Angela up there.
I would too. Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips again for the record. This amendment to an existing agreement with Interstate Batteries is a contract extension written by Jamila Holmes for the transportation and recycling of lead-acid batteries. The term of the extension again is October the 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. The Solid Waste Department requests that you approve and sign this one-year extension to an existing agreement with Interstate Batteries. This is a no-cost contract.
All right, questions?
No.
All right, motion?
I move that we approve the First Amendment to the lead battery recycling agreement with Interstate Batteries and Solid Waste.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Number 19, this is a financial budget matter, request to move funds from B budget to C budget, and this is adult misdemeanor probation. Director Hutchison.
Keith Hutchison for the record. What I'm requesting is to move from the K-9 budget of repair vehicles of $1,719.18 from the B budget to the C budget. We ordered the vehicle through the Boise bid last year, October, because the county wasn't ordering vehicles at the time. So we went through the Boise budget and they sent us a car without rear air in it. So we had to make some adjustments in the vehicle for air movement and stuff like that, and some solenoids to have everything complete to keep the air movement for the K-9 in the back. So it came in a little bit over budget, but we can move it from our B budget to our C budget, and that's what I'm requesting.
Okay, any questions?
No.
All right,
I move that we approve the request to move funds from the B budget to the C budget for adult misdemeanor probation and the adult misdemeanor probation.
second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. All right, number 20, board approval request, Idaho opioid settlement acceptance and voluntary reallocation. Jody?
Yes, Kootenai County entered into an Idaho opioid settlement allocation agreement, which entitles Kootenai County to $2,434,156.96. The board may consider accepting the funds or voluntarily allocating the funds to Panhandle Health.
Okay. So at this time, based on our last meeting, I'm not ready to allocate them elsewhere. I think that Kootenai County has sufficient needs. But my question to you is, if we take the acceptance and we use them for a couple years and then decide that we no longer need them or can keep up with the requirements, can we then allocate to Panhandle Health? And we don't need an answer right this second, but that was a question that came up.
Okay, I'll be happy to get an answer to you and provide that to the board.
All right. Thank you. All right, so no action required on that one, correct, Jody?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 21, board approval request, spending of restricted donations, Office of Emergency Management. Andrea?
Yep, this is Andrea, Office of Emergency Management, for the record. At the end of September, we're having a preparedness fair, and for the event, we've received a couple of donations for the event, and we're asking for your approval to spend the restricted donations for the event.
Okay. Any questions, Bill? All right.
I move that we approve the request or spending of restricted donations for Office of Emergency Management.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Item 22, board approval request, Assessor Budgetary Allocation request for postage and travel costs. Is this Ben?
Yes, this is Ben Crottinger, Chief Deputy Assessor. Afternoon, Commissioners. So there's a budget deficit in the Assessor's Administrative Department's B budget. This is due to an overage of $5,032 for postage, $2,054 for airfare, $562 for automobile rental, and $2,178 for seminars and professional association. Just for some background, why we have overages. The postage overage of $5,032, that is due to a historic increase in postage fees from the USPS that was adopted in August of 2021. At the time, we were approving the budget for fiscal year 2022. We did not know that USPS would be doing this increase. So just, a few cents from a USPS postage increase is thousands of dollars. And so our bill from the Master's Touch, the company that handles all of our mailed notices, they obviously had to increase. And then for airfare, automobile rental, and seminar overages, those are due to an increase in attendance from our personnel to multiple conferences and seminars. And we did that in order to comply with continuing education requirements and also to increase our overall professional knowledge. So then we are respectfully requesting that the Board of County Commissioners approve a budget allocation from the B budgets of the DMV and the surveyor so that unpaid P-card batches be paid, and so that also a future conference at the end of this month won't make us go over budget again. There is sufficient room in those budgets. We have confirmed with the DMV and with the surveyor that they will not be using any of these line items. So it should be fiscally responsible to do so.
Okay. So I guess I have a question. It shows that there's $2,956 in those two areas, but the overages are more than that.
Yes, so the combined overages, they are more than that, but we do have extra room inside of the B budget. So those are just the line items specifically in particular that went over, but there's extra room in other parts of the B budget. So I think right now we only have like $120 or so that were actually over. Just those line items in particular were kind of the big hitters, so I wanted to at least note those in particular.
Okay. Brandy, any concerns?
No, we reviewed this with them ahead of time.
Okay. And then you said that there's one more travel at this year?
Yes. Yep, there's one more travel at the end of this year. I won't be attending. It'll just be Bela. We did the math with airfare, lodging, automobile rental, and per diem. If you take $2,956 added into our B budget, we would still have a few $100 left over.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we approve the request by the Assessor's Office for budgetary allocation request for postage and travel costs with the assessor's office.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 23, outside independent legal services for the assessor. Mr. Kovacs?
Commissioners, this is a request for funding. This is something that the county has done whenever there's a conflict internal within the county. As per the rules of professional conduct, there cannot be a conflict of interest with the prosecuting attorney's office. And as a result of the action taken recently, there still is a conflict, and so I'm seeking legal counsel as per rules of professional conduct.
So my question is, does this have anything to do with your day-to-day operations in the assessor's office? You still have attorney coverage for that?
Excuse me?
You still have
what?
attorney coverage for assessor duties, day-to-day operations in your...
This question, this is not all of the other provisions, correct?
Okay.
So other questions are not a concern. I realize that I can go to legal counsel, internal legal counsel for other issues, correct?
Okay. Thoughts?
I'm not prepared to approve this.
Yeah, I would agree at this point. When other conflicts have been raised in the past, it was not of a direct personal nature. And so I don't think this is a wise use of taxpayer dollars at this time. So I'm not prepared to approve this either. So, anything else? Okay. All right, no motion needed on that one. Resolution, it's number 24. Resolution 22-65, and this is FFY, Federal Fiscal Year 22, Title III, for the auditor, Julina.
Yay. Jelena Hildreth, for the record. I just prepared a resolution, and it was reviewed by legal to go ahead and commit to electing for what let's see, Title II would be 8% and Title III would be 7%, which is the max, and we discussed it you guys discussed it last week. So I just need you to approve the resolution
Okay.
so that we can move forward.
And then just remind me, once this is approved and then the money comes in, then applications made usually by the sheriff's department because they're the applicable.
Yeah, so once we send this in, then we'll get the funding, the allocation will be in March or April. It goes into a specific fund, and then the sheriff's office, once they have applicable costs, they will come forward to you. They have to publish for 45 days. And then once you approve that reimbursement, it goes into their Title III fund in their patrol budget.
Okay, perfect. Any questions?
No.
Okay, motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2022-65 for FY22 Title III with the auditor's office.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. All right, number 25, and this is a discussion for police fleet vehicles. So, Captain Smart, you can lead us?
Thank you, Commissioners. And it's a discussion listed on there, but I'm not sure, I would say it might need some action due to the time constraints we're under. I don't know if you'd have to make a motion for that today to.
Do you have purchase order? Do you have purchase orders?
We do not. It's just a matter of whether or not we move forward with our design plan or not.
Yeah, so in my mind, we can give you direction and then you bring back the purchase orders.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, so again, as outlined in my memo, we just had a little snag. Ford has discontinued the 2022 models. I brought Mike Hedden from Mike White Ford here today. I'll allow him to speak to you further about how this kind of plays out and what effects it has on us moving forward, and you can answer any additional questions you might have.
Good afternoon. So I wanted to just first say that it was at no fault of either the Kootenai County Sheriff or Mike White, the dealer, but Ford Motor Company is not able to produce the number of vehicles that we have currently on order for the county. We ordered those at the beginning of that order bank opening for 2022 model year, and we ordered them in order to provide a quantity of vehicles to the county and the city entities. And then when that order bank closed, we had those in the order bank, and we extended that out to the county, and the county said that they would take 30 of those. Well, we just hit the end of that, and Ford has notified us that if those vehicles do not have a VIN assigned to them, at this point in time, they will not get produced, and they do not have VINs.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name or who you work for.
I'm sorry, my name is Michael Hedden. I work for Mike White Ford. I'm the fleet manager.
Good, thank you.
And so currently, that means that those units they call it balanced out. They'll get balanced out, and they need to be reordered. The order bank was opened and closed in a very short period of time. In a normal year, you have a period of 2 to 3 months where an order bank is open to be able to make those purchases. The order bank had initially had a date that it would be closed on the 16th of this month, but they let us know that it was going to close earlier, and it closed on the 9th. So we placed an order for 45 units, and that order is open. And we've provided that obviously to the county and other entities to be able to take advantage of those orders. The time sensitivity here is that we have a short window where those orders will be scheduled, and if the county does not want them, we're going to get stuck with a huge amount of vehicles that we don't have buyers for. And so we need, right now, we're trying to make that provision so that the county has the option to be able to purchase them. And we had to act fast and place that order. Sure. So those are currently in order, and we're hoping that we can take the 2022 and roll them over into 2023. The difference is that with the current situation with commodity restrictions on all kinds of different parts and things that they've got into these vehicles, the costs have all gone up. And so you're looking at a 15 to 20% increase year over year from the 22 to the 23 model year.
And Mike, can you speak to a little bit more too about the other constraints with Dodge and Chevy compounding the problems for our future?
Yeah, so in speaking with our government rep for Ford, he indicated that when I was talking to him about the length of time and how short it was getting, that we were only having a couple of weeks to be able to place orders, he said that they heard that Chevy opened their order bank for their police units and they were closed in 12 hours. So they ran out completely. And then on the other side, Dodge has a strong push towards electric vehicles on the police unit side. And so entities are deciding that's not the direction they want to go, and they're moving over to Ford to try and find vehicles. So Ford has got an increased demand for vehicles that they did not have in prior years because of those two automakers and their lack of vehicles to be able to deliver. So on our government side, we have a specific division that deals with government vehicles, and they're saying they're seeing a huge increase in demand, which is why they had originally opened up the order bank, and then they closed it down a lot earlier than they had anticipated, because they didn't want to have vehicles in the order bank that would exceed their ability to produce. So they shut it off once they reached capacity. And so that's making the possibility that we might not see the full order for 2023s realized, or even any of the order realized, and in which case we don't know. We're seeing that the restriction in the ability of Ford to be able to produce vehicles is not necessarily getting better. It's either staying the same or it's getting worse for certain vehicle lines because of the availability for both chips and all the different commodities that go into them, rubbers and plastics and things like that. But mainly chips, which is why you heard another gentleman say they didn't have a rear IC unit. That's because Ford is pulling the chips out of the vehicles, and they're not able to run that rear unit for the Explorer vehicle line. So that just means that this next model year run, we're stressing that you try and get them if you can this model year, because we don't know what's going to happen for either this year or the following year after that.
Okay. And when is the money due?
The money is due when the vehicles arrive.
Okay.
And so there's no money needed up front to place the order. The order has already been placed.
Hi, Robert Norris. However, he does have a build sheet that is at least 7 months out.
Right. Well, and that's what I was afraid of, like if it's, 7 to 16 months before we're getting delivery, I mean, then hopefully we can make enough interest on the millions of dollars we have set aside to cover the overages.
So the current estimation, is that the information that I have in front of me says that it's 30-plus weeks. And the plus is, the 30 is the cap. They don't estimate anything farther than 30. So when they get to the 30-plus, that's basically an indefinite timeframe. They don't really have a good estimation is what that means.
Okay.
It just means that they're probably going to be a while before we see them.
Okay. Any other local agencies order their units through you this time?
Yes. So we had the city of Coeur d'Alene order theirs. We ordered some for Kootenai County, and we also ordered them for Spokane County.
Okay.
And they did a similar size order.
Right. And how does LAPD and New York PD do? I mean, they must order hundreds of cars. I mean, I wonder how
Same way.
they're going to be shorted.
Yeah, I think they end up going through the same process in terms of allocation for dealerships. On the retail side, dealerships are given allocation based on the size of the dealership and the number of units they sell per year. But on the government side, it's not the case. The government, they give based on the order quantity that a government agency needs. And so they look at the total government orders, and they make their production decisions based on the orders that they received.
Okay. And so by accepting those first 30 vehicles, we were kind of helping you guys out because of the over order, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about right now if we don't commit to the 45.
Yeah, so what happened was we ordered a sizable order. I think we ordered 40. And then we, when Kootenai County allocated for 30, then we were able to either find homes for the other or cancel them in that time frame.
Okay.
And our based on the time frame, the limited time, we wanted to try and make available units for our county and our local entities because there would be no other window to do it. So we placed the order hoping that we would be able to provide those.
Okay.
And Commissioners,
Yeah.
I had originally put in my memo of us looking to seek out 45. Might have been a little too large there. I sent you a follow-up spreadsheet, which
Yeah.
kind of showed projections of what we'd be looking at sitting here this time next year. And we would have 40 vehicles at 100,000 miles or more. And so I would still recommend that we look at, we had originally set up to have 28 plus 2 detention vehicles. I'd still encourage you to look at increasing that order now, just due to the fact that it's only going to get worse for us moving forward with the time constraints and all of the other increases, even in the following budget year beyond that. And I know that that's a hard hit and a hard sell to push right now when we're already asking for an increase, but we're just going to keep getting further and further behind if we don't try to get ahead of this.
Right. And it's about $883,000. So you're almost looking at $1 million by the time all the upfitting and everything is done too, because I imagine those prices are going to increase. So my concern is with our fund balance, I wanted to make sure that we had enough to build out the jail pods. So 45 cars, jail pods, $1 million probably is going to go a long way to the build out. So it's just something we have to consider right now. So, to me, it's kind of a low risk as volatile as the new vehicles are. We could order 45 and get 10, get none. So,
Or get canceled.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on it?
I just see it as something we have to do. It's not pleasant, but my opinion is fund balance is our rainy day fund, and we just got rained on. So we need to be able to step up and get these things ordered now, and hopefully not fall further behind through cancellations and delays and
Mike,
those levels.
are you of the opinion that the next few years in the automotive industry is fairly precarious?
Yes. We're seeing the largest year-over-year price increases we've ever seen. So the availability of vehicles coming in is diminished by quite a bit, and the price of the vehicles is all going up substantially. And so I think that's going to make it difficult. And the window with which we have to make those decisions has shrunk considerably down, which makes it very difficult to work. I mean, like I said, in the past, it's been 3 months. You can send everything out and go through all the processes and get the budgets back and all that. And in this case, it's like we're having to preemptively make it and then try and catch up later.
Sure.
So we've got those, and the other point to that is that we've got I've ordered 46, and the 46 are in because I wanted more rather than less, because you can't add any after they closed.
Right.
So we wouldn't have until the following year to add anything. So you certainly don't need to use all those, but I would highly recommend not canceling them now, because then you have the option as you move forward to do what you're going to do with those units versus waiting and finding out. If Ford does give them all, then that would be a huge benefit towards what would happen the following year.
Sure.
If you had to get them then.
Sure.
Mike, what is our window before the county is committed to these vehicles?
So right now, I would say you've got about 3 weeks to be able to make that decision so that we keep them in the order bank before they actually schedule.
Yeah.
I would say 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. And I think bottom line, if all 45 were delivered, I imagine we could find some agencies locally to take them if we couldn't use them or couldn't afford them. So I don't really see a whole downside, except for wanting to make sure that we have enough money to do some of the other things that we need to do. Is it also possible to retune and go look through things as far as the upfitting and see what maybe we could change or do without, or do cheaper, or something to that effect to maybe help? And I don't need an answer right now, just a thought that,
We'll certainly go back and look. I mean, the copying hasn't changed. It's only gotten more complex, and
Right.
there's some things that are just standard nationwide anymore when you're talking about, cameras and body worns and all that go into it. And Motorola hit us already earlier this year as well with, we got to change over that whole configuration of the camera systems.
right,
Because technology just goes by the wayside so fast.
right.
As far as the breakdown and concepts of the car, I don't see it. We will contact PVI to talk a little further about maybe changing the center console to see if there's a reduced price on some things like that. So we'll look at that.
Okay. So I'm fine with bringing back the 45. Bill?
Soon as possible.
Okay, do we need any further meetings to bring something to you at all, or are we good just
Well,
saying those are locked in? Mike White's good with saying 45 as we move forward.
What did we do with the 30? Did we sign anything with the 30?
Oh, we didn't. There was, I believe, a motion made that you guys were committing to those vehicles. So I don't know. if that
Do we need to
needs
put it
be
back
the
on
case or
calendar?
not.
Yeah,
Make it an action
just put it back on for next Tuesday, and anything that you have from Mike White Ford would be beneficial to record keeping,
Okay,
so. All right. Okay.
all right, thank you.
All right. As far as our status update pending list, there's nothing changed, and so I don't think we need to go over that. With that said, I would take public comment. Hearing none, it is, my watch is not.
2:34.
2:34.
34.
2:34, meeting adjourned. Thank you.